finish out this series, it is going to be taking place on Antigua Shipyard. Up in the top left side, it is going to be MVPKeeN. And down in the bottom right side, it is going to be VortiX. And Apollo, the way I'm looking at this is that VortiX is having some good builds, but I feel like overall KeeN's mechanics are just a little bit better. What are your thoughts here for game number 5?
Game number 5 on Antigua Shipyard can play out once again very similar to how we saw Daybreak play out for KeeN. He can go for Reactor Hellion, Cloak Banshee again, or something around those lines. I doubt he'll try to play a Blue Flame Hellion build as a big risk to take, did nothing, and gave VortiX an edge in the game by doing nothing, by just sending in an Overlord at a very normal time. So KeeN will not take a risk like that because right now it's all to play for. On map, mistakes will not be, or will not purposely be done here, of course. I guess mistakes are never purposely dealt out, but what I'm saying is that they won't risk anything here, I don't think.
Yeah, and it's one of those things to remember that in a lot of the TVZs I've seen where they go just so many Hellions, an absurd amount of Hellions, that if they don't do a ridiculous amount of damage, I mean, they're basically out of the game. I don't really know what VortiX was thinking when he marched up that ramp. Maybe he thought the units weren't there. Maybe he thought the army was a lot smaller than it was. But either way, I mean, that was kind of KeeN's ticket to moving on here into game number 5. And I feel like VortiX, I mean, he just needs to make sure to realize, look, I messed up, man. I was in a good spot. I held off the harassment super easily, and I completely threw it away. And what that means is that if he just focuses, he shouldn't let that loss get into his head. And if he focuses here, he can definitely take a game. But talk about pressure for both of these players. The whole tournament that they've been playing in is all down to this one last game. Once again, got to be doing the drone scout, as he is going to go ahead and get right up here in the main base. He wants to see, are there gas? Nope, I don't see any gas, so it's most likely going to be a command center build here again. VortiX is going to scout it just fine and be able to prepare for that accordingly. But once again, he's going to be going for hatchery first here. So, so far, pretty standard.
Yeah, pretty standard play, and I think the early game in terms of aggression will be pretty much skipped. Both of these guys will just, you know, grab the hatchery down and grab the command center. VortiX will maybe even try to grab the third base around 6 minutes as well, just like playing a completely macro-focused game. But when the really differentiating builds and strategies actually come out by both of these guys is when the mid-game hits. When the Reactor Hellions come out, the Cloak Banshees come out. But I think that VortiX will use Mutalisk again because Antigua Shipyard is a map that's actually really nice to use on. Because once the town player tries to take a third base, it's a long way between main, natural, and third to grab the Marines, to pull back, to defend all the time, and especially because locations and Mutalisks are a lot more mobile and have a lot more flexibility with movement around.
Yeah, and it's also a situation on this map where if you look at the bases on the minimap, the Mutalisk can fly into the third, harass the line, immediately fly into the natural, and then fly into the main base. I mean, they're relatively protected from one side just based on the fact that in this world, man, you've only got so much playing space. So they're protected by the edge of the map there. And a double gas going down, as well as the factory just now beginning as well. So completely what we've kind of expected to see from KeeN right now, as the command center is nearly done. And VortiX, we're just going to have to wait and see the timing of the gas, but he's already got 2 queens out. He's going to be following it up with 2 more queens here. And do you have any thoughts about that, Apollo, getting out so many queens?
I love it. You know, it's a very great thing to do. VortiX is the guy that builds a lot but a little, if that makes sense. He only builds 4. He never goes more than that, but you actually see some players go all the way up to 6. One thing to note on this map so far, both of these players are scouting each other's third base. KeeN is actually throwing down a supply depot, expecting that third base to be taken in such a macro-focused game so far.
And also doesn't let the supply depot finish there. If you're wondering why that is, it's because if you don't let it finish it, you can still cancel it, get some of the resources back there as opposed to just completely giving it up to your opponents. So that is going to delay any sort of other buildings that he wanted. But look at this, VortiX actually sends Zerglings over there right away, realizing, okay, that SCV was a bit suspicious. Going to go ahead and clean this one out. So it's not going to be delaying it by all that much. And we do just have more drones on the way here for VortiX. He is going to start finally gathering that gas. Is it going to be for Metabolic Boost or the early layer like we've seen several times today here? The first 2 Hellions are out. You mentioned no blue flame. That's exactly what we're seeing here. Not necessarily what VortiX is seeing, though, because that Overlord is not going to be making it that far here. But yeah, it's just 1 factory right now, but he has gone up to 4 Hellions, followed up by a 3rd command center.
Yeah, 3rd command center here. And what is he going to do with that gas, though? Is it going to be tanks or engineering bay? Yeah, it looks like it's going to be tanks with the way that tech lab's come down. So actually, nice play here by KeeN, looking like to go for tanks to defend potentially everything that he's got right now. And tanks, as I mentioned earlier in the cast series, is that tanks are very good at defending what you have in terms of economy and protect what you have on Antigua Shipyard, because the tanks can actually cover all the ramp. But right now, 4 Hellions are making their way up. They're going to spot this third base for the first time in this game, but they are not breaking the natural, I don't think. With Queens here, a new Queen as well, with a transfuse available. They're going to try, but nice block.
Yeah, he definitely did try there. You can tell that he's trying to do economic damage here. A lot of times, I mean, a Terran player would just poke up there, see 2 queens, and be like, all right, well, I'm out of here. But he wanted to see, can I fit through those queens? It looked like they could have, and can't blame him for trying, because he knows that there are not that many units here on the field. It may have spooked VortiX a little bit here. He does have 18 Zerglings on the way right now, but he also has a Baneling Nest, is working on creep spread heavily with 5 creep tumors at a time. Zergling speed is going to be almost done. That third base, though, also going to be done here. And he is going to have to watch out for, well, I guess there is not going to be any Banshee play here, but that Siege Tech is going to be done very quickly here. So any sort of timing in the next 2 or 3 minutes is going to be tough to pull off, just because Siege Mode is going to be done here.
And we noticed from the Evolution Chambers, they're not actually researching 1-1, and they haven't even started. They've been there for ages. So it looks like he's saving all his gas for Mutalisks here, and could be building a very heavy Ling, Baneling, Muta style of army composition, which could be deadly against anything that KeeN has here. But the one thing is, though, even though he makes a stronger army, he actually has a weaker long-term army because of the lack of upgrades. And, you know, KeeN's now got 1-1 on the way, has tanks, marines set out, and is trying to take a really fast third base. But with such a heavy, short-term, aggressive army that we're seeing out from VortiX, he's going to be able to deal so much damage against a very thin, spread-out Terran army. The tanks are very loosely spread around, a few marines here and there. A very strong push is being built here by VortiX.
And I feel like that's something that all Terran players can relate to, is if you're securing that third base before the 10-minute mark, you have got to spread your units absolutely perfectly. It's not even like Protoss where you have to spread your units perfectly. It's that your units cannot move, the siege tanks especially. They take forever to unsiege and move here. It does look like killing off some of the creep tumors. Some of them were also canceled, though, which means they can be thrown down once again. The Zergling's got to be chasing this out right now. Do manage to kill off a Hellion or 2 there. Keeps his Banelings alive. He needs to retain these as long as he can, because he cannot afford to spend more gas. Because guess what? 10 Mutalisks on the way, followed up by 7 drones. Even has enough money to get centrifugal hooks right now. There's the scan right there. I don't know if he's seen the Spire. I'm going to take a look at the Terran's vision there, and I don't think he saw those for sure. So if these take him by surprise, he could be in trouble. But he does have 3 turrets going down right now.
Now 1-1 does come down for VortiX after the Mutalisks are made. So let's see how this is going to work out for him. He's going to start to launch an attack. KeeN is moving out with a handful of units. This is a very dangerous thing to do. As you said, he doesn't know anything. Doesn't know about the army composition. Doesn't know where the units are, how many there are either. VortiX right now playing it very cautiously. 8 more Lings on the way. Will be continuing through. Looks like he's going to go harass the main base for a little bit first, while building up a stronger Ling Baneling force to start to hit that third.
There is 1 missile threat in the main base at the mineral line here. He needs to go for some of the workers if he can, but Nate also needs to be much more careful with those Mutalisks right now. We do see a scan going to be thrown down here in the center of the map to help clean out some of those creep tumors, which is exactly what you have to do. You have to be careful with the Mutalisks here. Cannot fly them over those marines. That could have been a devastating loss. And it's one of those situations where a Zerg player, I mean, he looks to be in good shape, where he's getting good map control. He's got fast units. He can deny drops. He's got a 4th base on the way. But at the same time, 1 misclick, as we saw in the previous games, can make that all end very, very quickly, especially with how fragile Mutalisks are. But KeeN, I mean, he's looking to be in pretty good shape here as far as defense. He's made a lot of missile turrets at all of his bases, and only just leaving that natural undefended. As far as missile turrets, just because, again, if you secure your main and your third, it's almost impossible for Mutas to actually make it to that natural.
And one different thing here is that the tanks production started so early. He actually has a lot more tanks than a regular Terran player would have at this stage of the game. So KeeN now building additional bunkers. If these bunkers complete on the low ground, I don't think it's even breakable right now, and VortiX is just missing an opportunity to do anything. Looks like he may be waiting for 1-1. Mutalisks have done nothing. His upgrades are late. His Banelings have done nothing here, and with the bunkers complete with so many tanks behind, we could be seeing a repeat previously if he decides to go in here. We'll have to see if he is going to go in, and if he doesn't, then he committed to an army size relatively large so early on without doing anything with it, and that slows down his progression for the later stages of this game.
There is a drop down on the bottom left side. It did fly over that morphing and hatchery, but I don't think he was looking at the minimap that 1 second. And there's the big stem right there. Might be able to force the cancel right here. I don't think he's going to be able to save that. No, he is not. And at this point, I mean, really, VortiX needs to deny drops. If there's going to be multi-pronged drops or even just singular drops, he has got to defend it. Now, sending his entire army down here is a little bit of overkill. Might get him out of position just a little bit, but he will be able to clean this up. Although, oh no, might actually miss where those units are. He is going to go ahead and miss that. And right now, KeeN says, hey, you're a little bit out of position. I'm going to take this opportunity to move out a little bit more on the map.
And, well, VortiX is not out of position anymore, but KeeN is definitely in position with a great volley from those initial tanks, doing a lot of damage to those links, those clumped up, poor, you know, helpless Zerglings there, Husky. But now, let's see how this is going to go down. Is VortiX going to commit here? 2-2 is not ready, and KeeN is holding a great solid position and is able to take that 4th base momentarily soon as well.
Yeah, it needs to be careful. Look how long the siege tank line is. No, he decided to move it forward, which ended up not being that bad of a choice, and now he has center map control, but here he goes right now. He's going to have to do massive damage. Keep an eye on that unit's loss tab. It looks relatively even, but at the same time, he needs to hang on to that 4th base. He can't allow the Terran to get center map control, but VortiX right now hovering about 4,000 total resources, and we're about to find out why, because that Ultralisk Cavern just finished. Here's 4 Ultras on the way, but Marauder production has begun immediately. Don't know if the scan spotted that or what, but he knows exactly what's headed his way, and we'll definitely need to start working towards those Brood Lords at some point, like we've mentioned in the previous game.
Yeah, he saw the hive coming down, but he doesn't know about Ultras exactly, but he knows how VortiX plays. He always goes Ultralisk first here, so he's taking that gamble. Lings dying! Oh, aimlessly, even more Lings dying in the middle. Massive amounts of damage being dealt by VortiX. A drop at the south side towards this low base as well, dealing a maximum amounts of damage, and now KeeN has full control of the middle, which means that 4th base will easily go up, and once again becomes more and more difficult here for VortiX to actually get a good engagement on this Terran army.
I mean, right now, KeeN's cleaning out the creep. Also, something important is that the destructible rocks at the 4th base of our Zerg player have not been cleaned out. That means it's difficult for the drones to escape, but here's the Ultras. He decides to go, and then realizes, I don't know, I don't have chitinous plating just yet. I don't have 3-3. He wants to wait for chitinous plating, but he's deciding to go for it right now. Baneling's rolling in. He is running down a choke point, which he almost never want to do as Zerg, but can he make it work here? The Ultras taking splash damage from the tanks, the supplies plummeting, but at the same time, more Ultras following it up, more Lings as well. He is going to clean out center. Can he get the good bungles right there? Down goes 1. But I don't know if it's going to be enough here. The reinforcements might be too much.
Yeah, and KeeN's going to jump and take in the middle here, and he will siege up, and that 4th base will go down. And it doesn't matter, Planetary Fortress or Orbital, he's going to mine from a new base. And as a Zerg player playing against Terran, you can never allow an easy 4th base to go down. It is going to be a Planetary Fortress to fortify that area, and 6 more Ultras coming in. And time is running out for VortiX, because he has another big attack with 7 new Ultras, but after this next attack, there'll be too many Marauders, there'll be too many tanks, and 3-3 soon to finish for KeeN. So this next attack is pretty much all or nothing here.
Yeah, I mean, there's really no other way to put it right now, as he might be able to clean up some of these units in the center. Did deny that 4th base from going down. But the 4th base for VortiX mostly just being used for gas here. He needs to try and get maxed out, which he just now finished up, and just kind of go for it right now. He may just run directly into the siege line, but once again, he has to attack from multiple different angles. He runs down that ramp. He's got to take lots of splash damage. Does decide to go for it here, but so much damage from those siege tanks. Got to be dealt out here. The Ultras count, though, is relatively high. 7 Ultras and 6 Mutas trying to do everything he can. The army did get split up there a little bit. Have to watch out for that planetary, because it will absorb a lot of damage. Already up to 16 kills there, and is he going to be able to push all the way back past these bunkers? I mean, the Ultras count now is getting lower and lower, but at the same time, VortiX still has a lot of money here.
And KeeN is dropping both of the expansions, the 4th base and the 3rd base. Drones are having to actually defend on the right-hand side, but right now, VortiX is about to take the center. Our SCV is going to be able to repair in time and keep the repairs up, and it looks like he can bring down the planetary. But to what end? He's lost his 4th and lost a lot of drones on his 3rd.
The 4th got to be the most important one here, as that was that gas expansion as we talked about. Now VortiX still has some money in the bank. Is it enough to actually get remaxed out, though? We're going to find out here. 3-3 finishing up here for both players. VortiX may have a timing of a couple of seconds where he can try and punish his opponent, but at the same time, VortiX now stuck on Ultraless tech. There's no way he can switch to Broodlords. I mean, it would be just so tough for him. He's trying to expand in the center. That can be locked down by Shanks on the high ground, so he can't give up that position. And it's definitely a tough spot for VortiX right now. It's not unwinnable by any means, but he is definitely behind and needs to find a way to get that income going once again, or find a way to get the army out of position. But I mean, just take a look outside of KeeN's expansion. He's got a lot of stuff. The 3-3's done, another command center on the way, and he's definitely feeling pretty comfortable here.
Yeah, I think the key to winning is Broodlords, but if he tries to go for that win, then he sacrifices the middle of the map and map control, because KeeN will take a 4th base, and then what does it matter if he's at a couple of Broodlords? Because he can't really sustain Broodlord production at the moment, because he doesn't have enough money. VortiX, I don't think it's wise to attack in here though. And this could be very bad if he does decide to go in here. The unit spread is amazing, the tank spread is awesome too, and they are now 3-3 Marine Marauders. He basically wants to catch an army unsieged, I think, and he's going to try it. He's going to try and go in.
This is going to be it. If he can make this work, he will win the game, but if not, he is out of the tournament. He does go in here, gets a nice angle on those fungals, but keep an eye on the supplies plummeting for both players right now, following it up with more Zerglings. But it's got to take more than that to actually end this game. 3 Ultras remain on the ramp. They're eventually going to get taken out here. VortiX is going to have to back out. He has managed to stay in this game, but guess what? His expansion in the center is so vulnerable. Might actually get sniped here. The Ling's got to try and get the surround here. Can he take it out? He absolutely needs to, and down it goes. Barely able to take that one out. He is going to lose a lot of units there for his efforts. But the 2 medevacs somehow escape right there. And VortiX, I mean, he just has no momentum. He needs to expand again. Doesn't even have enough money to do so. And is just making basically what I would consider his last group of units. Both players getting mined out right now. But still, it's going to be tough for VortiX to sustain this army.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult for KeeN too. He's actually sieging up in the high mid-tier kind of ground in between his main and the low ground there, just to kind of get better value from every single unit he has right now, because he's also mined out in his main. And are we going to see another drop? We do on the right-hand side, picks off a spine crawler and gets out. Right now, how is VortiX going to play this out? A scan lands in the middle by KeeN, spotting, all the Lings and the Banelings being morphed. And KeeN has to have a new base. He has to, but how is he going to try to slowly take it if Lings and Banelings and Ultras are ready to pounce at any moment?
And you know what? I think the game's going to be decided by this 4th base right now, because as KeeN moves out, that's when VortiX is going to bite. He decides to go for it. This could be it. Here he goes with everything he's got, but the stem units over here, beautiful spread right now. It's going to come down to the control of these Ultras. Can he keep them alive? That unit on the high ground going to get so many kills. A nice fungal on the right side. Nothing to finish those out. There's so few units here remaining. It looks like KeeN is actually going to secure this base, could secure the win, because VortiX has no money to back this up with. He's only got a couple of vets with no energy, and there's the GG out of VortiX, as it is going to go 3-2 narrow.